You wake up in a cold sweat. You just dreamed that you were falling from a great height. Or maybe you were being chased by an unknown monster. Or maybe the opposite. You were flying over the city, feeling incredible freedom. What if I told you that Carl Jung, the great psychologist, believed that such dreams were not just random pictures, but secret messages from your subconscious? Yes, that's right. Your dreams are encrypted letters from your own psyche. And today we will figure out how to read them and use them in real life. Remember the story about the man who constantly had nightmares about being buried alive? He thought he was going crazy until he turned to a psychoanalyst. It turned out that his subconscious was screaming, "You buried your dreams." He worked at a hated job for 15 years, endured, kept silent, and his psyche began to rebel through dreams. Jung called it compensation. When something comes to us in a dream that we ignore in reality. Here's another example. A girl dreamed that she was losing her teeth. A classic dream, right? She was afraid that this meant the death of a relative, as folk signs say. But Jung would have seen something else here. Teeth symbolize confidence. This girl was just worried about being fired and was afraid that she wouldn't be able to bite in a new team. So how can you decipher your dreams? The first rule is to write them down immediately after waking up, even if you only remember fragments. Second, ask yourself, what was the strongest feeling in this dream? Fear? Delight? Powerlessness? Emotions are the key to the solution. Third, look for parallels with real life. Do you dream that you are running, but your legs seem to be stuck in a swamp? Perhaps you feel like you are marking time in some matter. Jung believed that dreams are a bridge between our conscious and unconscious. And sometimes they show us things we don't even admit to ourselves. For example, a man who thought his marriage was perfect dreamed that his wife was a stranger in a mask. A year later, he realized that he'd been living with a mask for a long time, hiding grievances. And now, the most important thing, how to use this knowledge. Let's say you dream that you lose your passport. Instead of being scared, ask yourself, where do I feel a loss of identity? Am I pretending to be someone else at work? Or a dream about being chased. Ask yourself, what am I running away from in real life? For example, when my friend saw a huge spider in a dream, instead of panicking, she thought, where in my life is there a web, a situation that entangles me? It turned out that she was stuck in a toxic relationship, but was afraid to admit it even to herself. Jung said, dreams are a forgotten language of the gods. And if you begin to understand it, you can learn shocking things about yourself. Your subconscious is smarter than you think. It already knows the answers to all your questions. It just hints. So next time you dream something strange, don't immediately go to the dream book. Ask yourself, what is my psyche trying to tell me? And then, perhaps, you will find the answers you've been looking for years. By the way, do you often have recurring dreams? If so, write in the comments. We will try to unravel them together. And don't forget to save this video. One day it may help you understand the message that comes to you right in your sleep. Have you ever noticed that your most vivid dreams come during periods when something in your life is going wrong? This is no coincidence. Jung called such dreams compensatory. They try to restore balance in our psyche. Imagine a scale. On one side is your conscious I, on the other, the unconscious. When the imbalance becomes too strong, dreams come to even out the situation. Let's take a real example. One of my friends, let's call him Alex, worked as a top manager in a large company. Outwardly, he was a successful, self-confident person. But he constantly dreamed that he was a little boy lost in a huge city. When we began to analyze his dream, an amazing thing came to light. In pursuit of a career, Alex completely suppressed his creativity. As a child, he loved to draw, but his father considered it frivolous. His subconscious literally screamed through dreams, "Return to your true self." Jung identified several types of dreams that are worth knowing. First, warning, usually alarming, with a sense of impending danger. They appear when we ignore important signals in real life. For example, a woman who could not bring herself to leave her abusive husband dreamed for 3 nights in a row that her house was engulfed in flames. Second, Compensatory show what we lack, as in the case of Alec. Or another example, a bored office worker dreams that he is traveling through the jungle. Third, archetypal, they feature universal images, a wise old man, a mother, a shadow. These dreams are especially important because they are connected to the collective unconscious. Fourth, repeating, the same plot or image returns again and again. This is a sign that the psyche is persistently trying to convey some important idea. Fifth, prophetic are the most mysterious. Jung called them synchronic. When a dream strangely reflects future events, although it is important not to fall into mysticism here, often it is simply our subconscious which catches what consciousness has not yet noticed. Now, an important point, how to work with dreams. Jung developed a method of amplification. You need to not just analyze a dream, but unwind its images, finding parallels in myths, art, personal experience. For example, if you dream of a snake, ask yourself, what does a snake mean to me personally? What associations does this image evoke? In what myths or fairy tales is a snake found? What place does it occupy in the cultures of the world? Try the technique of dialogue with dream characters. If you dream of, say, a stranger, imagine him in front of you and ask, what do you want to tell me? Write down the answers that come to mind. This can give amazing insights. One of my clients used this method when she dreamed of her deceased grandfather. In a dialogue, he said to her, "You're still holding my pipe." In reality, this turned out to be a metaphor. She continued to live by his strict rules, although her grandfather had been dead for 10 years. Another powerful tool is drawing images from a dream. It does not matter whether you can draw or not. The process is important, not the result. When you transfer an image to paper, a magical thing happens. The unconscious begins to talk to you directly. Jung believed that dreams are a living, independent part of psyche. They do not simply reflect our life. They shape it. Remember how after a vivid dream, your mood for the whole day can change. Now imagine what will happen if you start working consciously with your dreams. By the way, there is a funny paradox. The more attention you pay to your dreams, the more talkative your subconscious becomes. It's like with a plant. You water it, pay attention, and it starts to grow faster. Now I want to tell you about one amazing case from Jung's practice. A man came to him who had the same dream. He was standing on a hillside, and below him was a beautiful city. But every time he tried to go down, he woke up. During the analysis, it turned out that this man was afraid of success in reality. He subconsciously considered himself unworthy of happiness. His psyche created this image to show, look, what you want is very close. Just allow yourself to take it. And now a practical task for you. Tonight, before going to bed, ask yourself a question to which you want an answer. Maybe it will be, what do I need to understand about my current situation? Or, what is the next step for me? Write the question down on paper. Put under your pillow. In the morning, without getting out of bed, write down everything you remember. Even if it is fragments, they may contain a key to the solution. Remember, your subconscious is not a dark basement with monsters, as many people think. It is rather a wise advisor who speaks to you in the language of symbols. And the more you practice this language, the clearer the messages become. Jung once said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I decided to become. Dreams are a compass that helps us find the way to our true selves. They show not only what is, but also what could be. The main thing is to learn to hear them. So next time you see a strange dream, do not rush to forget it. Perhaps this is the message that will change your life. Now tell us in the comments, what is the most unusual dream you have ever seen? Let's try to decipher it together. Did you know that some people find solutions to problems they've been struggling with for months in their sleep? Chemist Kekulé saw the formula for the benzene ring in a dream about a snake biting its own tail. This is not magic. When we sleep, our consciousness rests and the subconscious continues to work. Here's how you can use this mechanism consciously. Make a rule before a difficult day or decision. Mentally order a dream hint. Let's say you can't choose between two jobs. Before going to bed, clearly formulate a request. I want to understand which job suits me better. In the morning, analyze the images, even if the dream seems incoherent. One girl, after such a request, saw herself in a stuffy glass cube, then in a blooming garden. It became obvious. The first job is prestigious, but without development. The second is less paid, but with prospects. Jung discovered an amazing pattern. During periods of crisis in life, dreams become more vivid and symbolic. It's as if the psyche turns on emergency mode. It starts to signal louder when we don't hear the quiet clues. Remember 2020? Many people had disturbing dreams about disasters, even those who outwardly remain calm. This was a collective unconscious reacting to global changes. Try the technique of daytime dream comprehension. If you saw a strange image at night, look for confirmation of it in reality during the day. A man dreamed of a broken bridge, and during the day he accidentally heard the phrase, "You yourself burned all the bridges." It turned out that he broke off relations with his brother because of a stupid quarrel and subconsciously regretted it. Dreams about exams that supposedly everyone sees. Jung explained them this way. This is a test of our self-esteem. If you can't find an audience in your dream, you may feel out of place in life. You were late for an exam. You are afraid of missing an important chance. You got a bad grade. You suffer from imposter syndrome. Pay special attention to dreams with water, the ocean, the river, even a simple puddle. All these are symbols of an emotional state. Muddy water, confusion in feelings, a storm. Internal storms, a clear stream, spiritual harmony. A girl who was going through a divorce dreamed for 3 nights in a row that she was trying to cross a stormy river. On the 3rd night, a bridge appeared in the dream. On the same day, she received a peace proposal from her ex-husband. And now, a secret weapon for working with dreams. Keep a dream diary and note not only your dreams, but also the moon on that day. Moon phases affect images. What you ate for dinner. Some foods trigger vivid dreams. Important events from the previous day. In a month, you will see amazing patterns. Jung proved that the more we ignore our dreams, the more disturbing they become. The subconscious amplifies a signal. One patient ignored a recurring dream about closed doors for years until he developed an ulcer, a disease of suppressed emotions. His body literally burst through what he did not want to notice in his dreams. The most valuable dreams are those where you meet your shadow, suppressed parts of your personality. If a repulsive character appears in a dream, ask, what part of myself do I deny in him? A businessman who despised weaklings saw a beggar in a dream and realized that he had driven himself into depression with hyper-responsibility. The technique of rewriting dreams is a powerful tool for changing your life. Write down a disturbing dream, then rewrite its ending the way you would like. Do this regularly. In 2 to 3 weeks, reality will begin to adapt to the new scenarios. One woman rewrote a dream where she was running away from a maniac. In the new version, she turned around and fought back. A month later, in reality, she finally decided to quit her toxic job. Dreams about the dead are a separate story. Jung believed that these are not spirits, but parts of our own psyche. If you dream of your grandmother, perhaps you lack her wisdom or unconditional love. A guy who was yearning for his deceased father appeared in a dream and said, "I did not leave. I became your strength." This turned his worldview upside down. Remember, nightmares are our best teachers. If you dream that you are naked in a public place, ask yourself, in what situation do I feel unprotected? If you are running away from a monster, ask yourself, what am I running from in real life? Often the answers are shocking in their simplicity and obviousness. Jung warned, do not become a slave to dreams. Their goal is not to scare, but to point out an imbalance, like a compass that shows a deviation from the course. The more often you check this compass, the more accurate your life path becomes. Now check. What images from your recent dreams pop up in your memory? Write them down right now. In an hour, the details may evaporate. And in the evening, try the technique of conscious falling asleep. Lie down with the thought, today I will see an important dream and remember it. You will be surprised how quickly your subconscious will start making contact. Have you ever noticed that sometimes objects appear in dreams that do not exist in reality? Jung called them psychic facts, material embodiments of our internal states. Here's how to decipher these mysterious messages. A practical example. A woman dreamed of a strange box with a constantly changing lock. It was sometimes golden, sometimes rusty, and sometimes disappeared altogether. During the analysis, it turned out that this was an image of her creative potential. The golden lock appeared during periods of inspiration, the rusty one, when she had not picked up a brush for months. And the most amazing thing is that after 6 months of working with dreams, she actually found an antique box at a flea market and uses it to store sketches. 3 levels of working with images. First, personal. What does this object mean specifically to you? For one of my clients, an umbrella was a symbol of protection from maternal criticism. Second, cultural, traditional meaning in your culture. In Russian fairy tales, an egg is a symbol of potential. In the West, fragility. Third, archetypal, universal human symbols. A mountain always means an obstacle or spiritual growth. Technique of reviving objects. When you dream of a mysterious object, imagine that it can speak. Ask, why were you created? Why did you appear in my dream? What do you want to teach me? Dreams about houses and rooms are always a reflection of our psyche. An attic is a repository of forgotten memories. A basement, suppressed fears and desires. Abandoned rooms, unrealized aspect of personality. A real case, a man dreamed of a house where one wall was completely glass. It turned out that he was afraid of transparency in relationships. He hid his true feelings from his wife. Animals in dreams are the embodiment of our instincts. Horse, vital energy, tired, burnout, wild, indomitable temperament. Snake, wisdom or hidden threat. Birds, connection with the spiritual. Exercise, create a dictionary of your symbols. Write down each image and your associations. In a month, you will have a personal key to interpretation. Colors in dreams are often more important than actions. Red, passion/anger. Blue, depth of feelings. Green, growth/stagnation, depending on the shade. Important nuance. Clothes in a dream show our social mask. If you dream that you are in pajamas at a meeting, perhaps you are opening up too much to your colleagues. Technique of dream dialogue. 1. Write down the dialogue from the dream. 2. Continue in reality. 3. Ask questions on behalf of the character. Example. After a dream about an argument with a dark double, Jung's patient wrote 5 pages of imaginary dialogue and realized his hidden aggression. Dreams about transport are a symbol of the path of life. Train, a clear schedule. Car, personal control. Ship, a journey into the unconscious. Remember, if in a dream you are driving a vehicle, you feel power over life. If you are a passenger, you submit to circumstances. Practice of dream walk. Remember a place from a dream. Close your eyes. Mentally walk through it, noticing new details. Often this reveals hidden aspects. For example, a door that you did not notice in a dream. Dreams about nature. Thunderstorm, internal conflicts. Desert, emotional isolation. Forest, self-search. Jungian technique. Turn passive observation into active action. If you dream that you are drowning, imagine finding the bottom and pushing yourself to the surface. Synchronization technique. First, choose an image from a dream. Second, look for it in reality during the day. Third, analyze coincidences. Example, a woman dreamed of a stork, and during the day she accidentally saw it on a clinic sign. A week later she learned about pregnancy. Dreams about death rarely predict physical death. More often it is end of a life stage, need for transformation, dying of old habits. Important. If a deceased person gives advice in a dream, it is your own wisdom speaking through his image. Final technique. Before going to bed, ask a question and put a magic item, stone ring, under your pillow. In the morning, the first thought will be a clue. One man resolved a long-standing dispute this way. He dreamed that he and his brother were fixing the roof together. The next morning, he called to make peace. Remember, your dreams are a living laboratory of the soul. The more often you look into it, the more amazing discoveries you make. try to apply one of these techniques today and share the results in the comments.